Most sales are lost because the salesman presented his product before he knew what motivated his prospect. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Watch Me Sell. This is going to be a fun exercise. At the end, I'll have some tactical things that we can actually implement today. I call them engagers. Dean Jackson had a thing called the 9-word email, right? Which was a really cool reactivation thing. So we'll talk about some tactical things as we go through. All right. The number one thing that I think we should do before we move into the actual content is just establish a couple of really helpful baselines. Number one, what is your personality type? If you don't know your personality type and you feel like, okay, I have to sell, I need to sell, sometimes it's better to partner up with somebody who's got the personality profile that's going to help you. Okay. 7 years ago, you guys have seen on the Watch Me Builds, Jacob, my partner, we've been partners for 7-8 years. It's because he can't sell at all. He can't sell at all. And by the way, I can't do a lot of the stuff he can do. Okay. And so a lot of times your shortcut is just finding the right type of person. Go to 16personalities.com, take that personality profile, find out who you are, and then match yourself up with the right type, a sentinel, an entrepreneur, somebody with an E in front of their their profile. And that'll get you off to on the right foot. I remember the first time when I met my mentor. His name is Sonny, and he was going to have me help with his operations. And the first day I came in, this was a long time ago, he said, "You have a high level of confront, so we're not going to put you in operations." I'm like, okay, what does that mean? It means I can talk to anybody and I couldn't care less what they say. Okay. So if that's the type of personality that you have, then we're going to teach you the skills so you can augment that personality type and start crushing it. If you don't, doesn't mean you cannot sell. In fact, there's a lot of people that are the architect type, meaning it's a 16 personalities profile, that can use logic, persuasion, and just sit back and sell with ease. Okay. But you just gotta, what's your quickest pathway to victory? All right. Next point of discovery here. Rule number one, the purpose of struggle is becoming resourceful. All right. If you're here, chances are you're here because you are trying to get your first few clients, right? And the first couple of clients are the hardest ones. They're the hardest ones. There's a video on my YouTube channel where I talk about how I got 127 clients in, I don't know, I think it was 2 months, 2.5 months, something like that. And that was, I'm not going to say easy, but it wasn't hard. It was harder to get my first 2 or 3 clients than it was to do that. Right. But you have to understand that the entire purpose of struggle is to become resourceful. And I make this as rule number one, as point number one that I want to make, is because so many people just get inside their own head. They think, oh, me, something's wrong with me, whatever the case may be, yada, 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 yada. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Struggle is awesome. Struggle is the best thing. It helps you. If you go through it long enough, it helps you become resourceful. All right. And that is a good thing to have. So the mindset to be good at anything is one dictated by resourcefulness, creativity, and self-reliance. This is why people they say C's get degrees, or C students hire B students, that kind of whole thing, who hire A students, whatever. It's because the C students, the B students, we think outside of the traditional box. And once we leave, high school, university, we're put into the real world. And those skills, those shortcut skills that we acquire to even get, I remember my dad said, hey, as long as you get a 3.0, that's good. That's all you got to do. And I would reverse engineer a 3.0 because I didn't want to put any more work in than I had. So I just had to get a 3.0. And I did it. I remember one time I got a 3.5 and I was mad at myself because I was like, oh man, I could have had more fun. I could have done whatever I wanted to do. So resourcefulness, creativity is a skill set. All right. we're going to jump into, like I said, some tactical things, but I wanted to share with you guys my first, like how I actually was forced into selling. And it's a story. And the cool thing about this story is I didn't plan for it. I fell back at, ass backwards into this method that really has served me for my entire career. And I call it the magazine method. But it all started when I was like 24, 25. Okay. I'm 42 now. This is a long time ago. I had a bunch of friends who were in the real estate business. And these friends had said, hey, man, you should go become a loan officer. We'll send you all our deals. This is how much you'll make. You'll make a bunch of money. I'm thinking to myself, that sounds right up my alley. I like money. Money's good. Commissions are awesome. And so I committed to do it. I was married. I'm still married and had one kid at the time. I had one. Oh, no, my wife was pregnant. And so I'm thinking, okay, so it was a big decision. It wasn't just me. So I was working at M&T Bank. And I go in the first day, and I remember walking in, and my branch manager, I said, okay, who's going to train me? How do I do this? That kind of thing. She's like, wait a minute. Nobody's going to train you. Like, you need to bring some deals in so we can train you while you have deals. I'm like, oh, okay. Let me go get deals. So I go to my friends. I'm like, hey, I need some deals so I can learn how to do the deals. And they're like, oh, well, come back in a week. I'm like, oh, geez, come back in a week. And then 1 week went to 2 weeks. 2 weeks went to 3 weeks. And the whole time I'm thinking, oh man, I got to figure something out. So the next day I walk in and I said, I don't have any deals, but can I start getting, can you teach me something? And she pulls out this binder. I kid you not. It was like this thick. And that's thick. I mean, on the screen, it was a lot of papers. And I am not a school person. I swear the thud of the binder hitting her desk, boom, was like the thud of 1,000 earthquakes. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, look at this entire book. She's like, read that and you'll learn our products. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not my strong suit, but what can I do? Struggle. Become resourceful. So I sat my, 24-year-old, don't know nothing about nothing yet, ass down in a chair. And for 3 weeks, I did nothing but read guidelines. Oh my gosh. And by the way, I also had this Mortgages for Dummies book right next to me because I didn't know what LTV meant. I didn't know what, 5/8. I didn't know all these things. So I had to go back and forth. By the time 3 weeks was over though, it was kind of crazy. Because there was loan originators in that office who'd been doing it for 10 years, 15 years. And I knew our products better than them. They would always funnel them to the easy things. But me, I knew all of the different, we called them Alt-A programs, our government programs. I knew all of these programs. I was like, oh, you guys don't know this? This is crazy. How do you not know this? And I started to look around and I'm like, okay, well, no deals are coming to me. I got to get deals. My branch manager is like, go to real estate agents, take them out to lunch, all that kind of. I'm like, I don't got no money to take people out to lunch. I literally I had no money. And so I remember I went to Century 21 because that's where my two friends work. I'm like, okay, maybe they'll introduce me to people. Maybe I'll figure something out. So I sit down and there's one of those real estate magazines right next to the couch. I grab the real estate magazine because they're doing whatever they're doing. I'm looking through it and I'm like, oh, that person would never send me deals. Their houses are too expensive and they look way, I'm 24. There's no way that person's going to send me stuff. Next page. Oh, that person would never send me deals because they're too whatever. Oh, whoa. Next. I just keep going and going. And then I get this one page and it was this lady named Christina McNeil. And she said, se habla español. Oh, I say habla español. And then I started looking at all the houses that she had on there. And they were all first-time homebuyer's house. I'm like, I'm a first-time home buyer. That's my age. This is me. And so I started looking at all the things that she's saying. I'm like, you know what? I bet you if I reached out to people like her that spoke Spanish and they worked with first-time home buyers, I bet you I could have a really meaningful conversation because all of these programs that I'm really good at that nobody else wants to deal with. I mean, my other coworkers, they don't even know what they are. So I reached out to her, my very first phone call. I said, "Hi, Christina. My name is Sam. And I noticed that you work with a lot of bilingual or Hispanic speakers, and you're trying to help people with buying their first home. Did you know about this new thing that happened with HUD Homes just a month ago that will help your people get a $10,000 grant for their home purchase?" She goes, "I didn't know that." And I said, "Also, just, that's a cool thing. I'll send you some information if you want to know about that. But you likely have some other people that are not qualifying because of XYZ. I can get them qualified." She's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm sending you 5 loan applications right now." I was like, "What?" And for the next, so that was like a month and a half mark. By month 3, I was the top producer in my branch. I got the Jerry Centers Sales Award. Okay. Some dude from Baltimore, like the vice president of our bank, flew down to see, who is this wonder kid, Sam Carlson, who's selling all of these transactions. He's doing, and back then, I mean, if you did $1 million in originations, that was the mark. You were like crushing it. I'm like, I guess I'm pretty awesome at sales. And that is what I called my magazine method. I would find people within these magazines. I would find the people that I knew that I could deliver. Like, I knew I matched up with their avatar, and I knew I could deliver them a result. And I knew that they had a very common pattern. Like, they would go to all of these seasoned loan officers and nobody really wanted to take the time of day. So that was me. I stepped in. I said, that's what I want to do. And for the next whatever, I actually even had a radio show. The radio show was called El Gringo Prestamista. I would go on Spanish radio and talk about first-time homebuyer products so people could buy a home. And I was crushing it. But I fell backwards into this out of necessity. Okay, and here's what I learned. Specific people have specific problems. Okay? Everything that you look at surface level will get you nowhere. Everything under the surface, the dynamics, the situations, whatever it is, it's like those situations, that's your opportunity. That's how you sell people. Okay. And with that information, once you've kind of taken that and stirred it up in your pot, you can create your specific solution. Specific. And a lot of people think that thinking that small and that granular would limit the ability for you to, grow whatever business, let alone a SaaS company. That couldn't be further from the truth. There are so many people out there with that exact same thing that you can scale to the moon. So we'll go down to this. By far, the most critical starting point that everyone here must have. And I don't care what anybody else says. This is the gospel according to Sam. You got to pick a niche. Okay. And when you pick a niche, life insurance agents is not a niche. That's a very broad category. You got to go to a sub niche. That's going to make your life so much easier. Okay? Everybody with me? Give me something. Give me, use the chat. Give me I don't know if there's a emoji icon, or you could just, oh, Charles, how did you do that yes thing? What in the world? That was bizarre. I
can't tell you my secrets, man.
I know. Oh, well, and Paul's giving me some kind of thumbs up. Awesome. So we are going to move into your guys' things. I'll jump back in the chat and we'll pick one. But I wanted to share 2 of my favorite sales quotes. Okay. And this one is the people who sell for corporate America have never learned this, right? They have never learned this phrase, and they could crush it if they just would shut up and listen to what their prospect wanted. Okay, probably 99 out of 100 salesmen try to motivate their prospects, and that is their mistake. You are not capable of motivating anyone, no matter how persuasive you think you are. Everyone is already motivated. Christina, she was motivated to say, look at all this potential I have that's making me no money. Boom. I triggered right into her. I tapped right into that existing motivation. So the only question is, by what? By what are they motivated? Your job is to find out what it is that motivates your prospect, and then show him or her how him or her can get what he or her wants through your product or service. Only then will they buy. Most sales, listen to this. This is my favorite. This is my favorite part of the entire thing. Most sales are lost because the salesman presented his product before he knew what motivated his prospect. At the end of the day, you're going to get a lot further by asking questions and shutting the hell up. Okay. In fact, Harry Brown also said, the secret to selling is to ask people what they want you to sell them, then sell them that. Okay. All right. The other thing. Now, Dan Lok is I don't know Dan Lok, but if you know Dan Lok, he's an interesting fella. But he has an amazing quote. People don't buy when they understand. They buy when they feel understood. Again, this is nuance. This is the whole idea that we're trying to tap into. The psychology of of sales is all about seeing things from your perspective, from the perspective of your buyer, not your own, right? That to me is the secret sauce. On our last Watch Me build, we were talking about the psychology or ad psychology, and I can't remember who it was, but we were talking about windshield repair. We said, okay, what does this person offer that is unique? And they started jumping into the features. It's like, whoa. We're all of our brains are geared, like our ego, the way we think, we're geared to think about our thing first. But our thing can't be the thing. It's got to be their situation, their problem, and then our thing on the back end. All right. So just kind of a summary of what we need, the ground rules that we got to, agree on before we do anything. If you can identify a unique person, uncover their needs and their problems and what things they're tired of, then you can sell. Anybody can sell. Who is your niche?
You mean like what other, like chiropractors, psychologists, that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Both. Basically, chiropractors, psychologists, lay people. I don't really have the niche down.
Okay, we're going to pick one right now. That's going to be the first step we're going to do here. So neurofeedback. You got chiropractors. That's one.
Yes.
Who else?
Counselors, psychologists, therapists, lay people. And there's a few that are kind of like just alternative health people, right?
Which one do you think you like the best? Which one do you think, which one, if you had to pick one, which one would you want to pick?
Let's go with chiropractors. That's an easy one.
Okay, we can go with chiropractors. I'm very familiar with chiropractors. Why chiropractors? Let's start there.
Most of the chiropractors I've worked with are used to spending money or at least focusing on marketing. So they're fairly easy to work with once you develop a relationship with them.
Okay.
I had one chiropractor that we brought him to 100,000 a month with neurofeedback. So that was kind of, my big win, right?
Okay. Well then, okay. So there you go. So really, in fact, Alex Hormozi has, when he talks about picking a niche, he talks about what is the person you can help the most. So if you've got a track record of being able to produce that type of result with people, then that's great. All right. So we're focusing on chiropractors who are integrating in niche services. That's number one. So the real question here is, if you're crafting a sales message, where do you start? I always start trying to see what everyone else is saying. Okay. Now, if you go into that space, and quite frankly, probably this is going to be more conversational and maybe less like on the Watch Me builds, we do Google searches and Facebook ad searches. That would be part of my discovery. Okay. But since this is your niche, some stuff about this. Do you have any idea what your competition promises? What kind of, what approaches, what leads they're using?
Well, I guess that's one of the things. I haven't really seen a whole lot of competition. I'm starting to now, but I haven't seen very much over the years.
Okay.
So I haven't really been able to deconstruct what other people are offering, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I tried to deconstruct some of yours, but I haven't been able to.
Well, I tell you, we can start there's 4 places to start. Okay. Problem. Okay. And in which case, hey, their problem is, you bought this expensive equipment and now it's not making you any money because you don't know how to get people. Okay. Problem. That's number 1. Promise. Okay. That's the one everybody goes to. Everybody goes like, I'll get you 20 patients and this, that, and the other. That's okay. Promise. Proof. Okay. So that's the case study approach. Hey, we did, we got $100,000 in neurofeedback and want to, here's how, and then opt in, that kind of thing. Okay. And then 4 is proposition. Hey, we have, and this is Alex Hermosi's thing, right? Alex is all about like, hey, I will get you $100,000. This is like, basically, here's the arrangement. I'm going to give you this if you give me that. Okay. Proposition. The one that's most commonly, the first 2 are problem and promise. Okay. And generally, those are going to be the ones that are hardest to do because a tactic known is a tactic blown. Okay. Do you know what the number 1 enemy of sales is?
I would imagine there's a lot of them, but I don't really have one in mind.
The number one enemy of sales and sales copy are assumptions. Okay. So if people think that they know what your thing is, then they're not going to listen, which means the opposite is your tool. And it's actually a formula that I learned from Gary Benzamanga, which is B plus C equals I. Okay. Which is benefit plus curiosity equals interest. So now we just need to figure out what benefit we want to tap into. And by the way, we're not going to pick one that's going to like on this that requires testing. Okay. But let's say, for example, benefit plus B plus C equals I. What is one unique way about what you're doing to get those results? What's something unique about it? Actually, just tell me how you're doing it. Like deconstruct how you do it.
Well, okay. So put it like this. I used to run ads to a VSL, right?
Yep.
And people watch that VSL, they'd book an appointment. It was a lay down for me. I'd probably close 30 to 50% of them, right?
Okay.
Times have changed, right? It doesn't work like it used to work. Plus, with COVID, I lost most of my clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So coming back, I've been very hesitant to run ads to do that. And I don't really want to do what I used to do as far as the amount of work that I did.
Yeah.
I got to a point, especially with COVID, that I would do almost anything to keep the clients, right?
Yeah.
Finding UpHex and doing it this way, I want to kind of change what I'm doing, right?
Uh-huh.
And so far, I've got some new clients on UpHex, and I've also converted some old clients on it, and it's working great. But to bring in new clients, I just got a VA in that's out doing cold emailing for me.
Yeah.
But I would like to just get some training for them to learn how to sell, because that's the big problem. They don't know how to sell high ticket for the most part, right? I have all the snapshots built out. I got full funnels. I got all of that stuff, but I don't really have. I'm just a little bit overwhelmed with everything at this point, right?
Okay.
And just kind of trying to find that direction to go.
Okay. Well, I understand what you're saying. And it's the whole dichotomy of the forest, the trees, the forest, the forest and the trees.
Yeah.
Let's do something different. Let's do a different exercise. I want you to imagine you're looking at a room full of all of your potential customers. Okay. They're all talking. They don't know you're there. And they're all talking about like Facebook ad agencies. Okay. They're all talking about it. What do they hate?
They hate bad leads, right? And they think that it's the leads that are the problem. They hate the high costs of hiring an agency. They hate, sitting there with empty chairs and not utilizing the equipment that they paid all that money for, right?
Keep going. What are they saying? Like, what are the phrases? Like, what are they actually saying? Like, what kind of stories are they telling? You understand what I'm saying? Like, hey, I worked with this agency last month, fill in the blank.
They got all these leads, but I couldn't close them.
There you go. No, well, couldn't close them?
So my headset is keep cutting out here.
Okay.
So I'm going to just switch headsets just a minute.
Yeah. While we're doing that, what I want to do is refer back to I just did a sales letter for UpHex, and the very first few seconds of it were Forrest Adsit's his organic post. How many of you guys have seen that? How many of you guys have seen Forrest's video where he talks about how he got 35 paying customers and starting with an organic post, by the way?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. In the case study that Forrest and I had, he's not a copywriter, right? At least he doesn't think he does not claim to be. However, when I saw his ad, it said, and I quote, no, I don't quote. It said, launch Facebook ads in 45 seconds without getting into Ads Manager. So what are we tapping into? That is a what? That's called a what? A unique promise. Some people call it a hook. Hook. What comes after hook? Story. So it's hook, story, offer. That's the framework. So we're gonna adjust this for you, Paul, on the fly.
Okay.
Launch Facebook ads in 45 seconds that convert into appointments without hiring a Facebook ad agency. That's our hook. What do we have? We have a benefit and we have curiosity because it's without an agency. So now I'm what? Now I'm interested. All right. What the story we tell after that is incredibly important. Now, Forrest, in fact, let me see if I can actually find his because I feel like it's probably worth looking at. Okay, there it is. Okay. Launch your own ads in 45 seconds without logging into Facebook Ads Manager. All right, so that's the hook. Now, here's the interesting thing. Okay? The story. Let's read the story and then we'll go back to that same situation where I said if you were in a room full of your avatar and they're having a conversation, what are they saying? This story, the way he told it is tapping into that situation. So I won't be providing a course on how to launch your own Facebook ads and Instagram ads anymore. It's way too much. It's way too much work for people, and I don't think it'll help provide immediate value and results. He's implying things, right? Life insurance agents will now be able to launch Facebook ads and Instagram ads right from inside our CRM. Select one of 10 and growing templates, set your daily budget, and launch. Okay. The guy didn't even know what he was doing. Okay. And the reason that this happened naturally is because he knew. And if you go again, I would encourage you, if you guys haven't seen his case study with me, we talk about this exact situation. I said, well, what was the situation that led to this post? And he said, well, I wanted to sell agency services, but my niche, his niche, didn't want to pay that much. Like nobody would pay that. And then they have this thing where they resell leads. I don't know anything about that. That's not part of my niche. Okay. And people hate that for these different reasons. And so he went down the solving the problem thing. Like, I'm going to do an agency. Now I'm going to do like reselling leads. You know what? People don't want that I'm going to teach them a course. That way they can at least be able to do this on their own, which is what they really want, but they don't want. Enter UpHex. So the story that he told was a story motivated by what actually happened to him. And it was motivated. It happened to him because he was in that niche, trying to serve them, trying to find the conversations that were happening in their heads. Which is why he was going to create a Facebook ad and Instagram course. That's what he was going to do. And then boom, enter UpHex. He's like, wait a minute. We're just bypassing all of this and we're just going straight to being able to do launch Facebook ads. Why would you take a course? So you can do it yourself. No, you don't got to take a course. Boom. Just do that. Okay. So when you're talking about how to craft the story, you got to tap into those conversations. So it was launch your own Facebook ads in 45 seconds without logging into Ads Manager. Chiropractors don't know me about Ads Manager. Without logging into Ads Manager, I'd probably just say launch your own ads and book appointments without a Facebook ad agency. I'll no longer be charging high retainer fees and looking to generate leads for doctors. Instead, I've decided to automate and pass along the effectiveness of our proven ads library for people working with neurofeedback patients. Bum, bum, bum. We have
perfect.
Whatever. I'm coming up with this on the fly, obviously, right? And then at the end is the proposition, right? We've got select 10 templates. By the way, that's like a form of demonstration, right? Select this, select your daily budget, and launch. Okay, that's date number 1. We're interested in date number 2 now. Okay? Which, by the way, don't try and sell marriage unless you've gone on date 1, 2, and 3, so on and so forth. Okay? So really, what you're talking about here is salesmanship and print. It's copywriting. It's not really sales. Okay? We can talk about sales. I'm meeting you guys where you're at. If this is what you want to know, that's what the Watch Me sells are for. We can sell to, writing ad copy, whatever the case may be. But I'm telling you right now, that would be an absolute, that's a framework I would test right now today.
I like that. Okay.
Another thing you want to
Thank you.
Just to throw another element of, so Forrest had a picture of this, right? And sometimes less is more. I would definitely have a visual. Demonstration is the greatest form of proof. Okay, everybody thinks that testimonials are actually probably on the proof list. Testimonials are probably on the bottom. And the reason is because most people think that most testimonials are contrived. They think they're fake. Okay, and so you have to make and testimonials are a form of proof. So your proof, the greatest form of proof is demonstration. Okay. Which is, that's why if you look at my VSL on UpHex, I'm like, hey, click this, result. I want them to see what that is like. You know what I'm saying?
So maybe a very short video, just kind of showing how it works.
Yeah. For example, I would probably even show my ad that does the thing. I do that right now. I'll send out emails with my ad, actually, I'm like, hey, here's how it works. Here's why it works. Why do I do that?
Demonstration
is one thing, right? Trust is another. And if it's different than what they've seen before, they now have a what? They now have a problem, right? Their problem is, I want to try this. So if I can create a problem for them that makes me the next solution, I win. It's checkers, chess versus checkers, right? So for example, we did a training with Joe Rare too long ago, and he was talking about how to anticipate, build your value ladder and all that kind of stuff. He goes, you're going to provide leads for a business. What's going to happen? A lot of them are not going to be able to convert those leads into booked appointments. That's the next thing. So what happens? They bought a problem. The fact that you create a problem by putting leads into their practice, in this case, is your next opportunity. Like, hey, no problem. We got a bot that will book those appointments. You're gonna have to follow this protocol, but here you go. Or we have human rollover, no problem. We'll take care of that for you. Or we have done for you stuff, so we'll do all of that for you. That's your next layer of value. Okay. Here's what is so cool about this. If that's true, the reverse is true. If I can create a problem that then makes my thing that I want to sell their next solution, then I can have a really cool offer. You say, hey, I want to give you, for example, I want to give you all of the slides to my dinner workshop for neurofeedback. They'll be like, really? Yeah, they all want it. All of your doctors, that's what they want. I've talked to them. I put together a 45-minute presentation with the slides and a training. You can get it for whatever. Okay. Now I need to put people into an event, into a workshop. This thing does me no good unless I'm getting people to an event. Oh, that's weird. We have an event promotion service. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do.
So, and I learned that from Chet Holmes. Chet Holmes has an awesome interview with Tony Robbins. It's like 4 or 5 parts. And he talks about speaking to people basically like about source issues, source problems. Don't speak about if you're on your first date, don't be like, so, I noticed you have all of the things that I want, a great body, you're pretty, your personality seems nice. What do you think about getting married? That's what everybody in business does. Everybody in business does that. All right. Lay back, learn some about the person, talk about them, learn about them, see how you pair up and match up. That's the same thing we're doing with our prospects.